Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's another little fanboy video about Linocad. It's another 3D printed video and he's come out with a suppressor or a suppressor file that you can go and download that again, I think is really good. I'm kind of like this, I think, with like 3D designers, 3D print designers. Like I'll come across someone who makes something really cool. I'll go down this rabbit hole of like, oh my God, you also make this, you also make this. And hopefully for you guys, it's kind of interesting because I think a lot of these 3D designers who make some of these print files, they really get overlooked and there's some incredible stuff out there. So Linocad has made something which I'm going to talk you through now. First off, guys, though, if you're watching and you're from YouTube, these are not real. This is AIRSOFT. Like 90% of the videos that I'm putting out right now are getting demonetized and they're saying, hey, there's a firearm disassembly or something that's going on in here. None of this is real. This entire channel is AIRSOFT. So if there's any way that you can just tick a box saying like no real firearms are ever shown on this channel, that would be awesome. Number one reason is that you should not use one of these with a real firearm. This is made of 3D printed PLA plastic, PLA plus from eSun technically, but never ever put this on a real firearm. So please, if you're watching YouTube, I am going to install these fake 3D printed suppressors which do nothing. They are just plastic, and it is going to go onto a toy which is an airsoft gun. So let's move on from that. Anyway guys, Linocad, amazing. I've got a link down below to his Cults 3D page. He produced, have I got one here? I've actually just printed this for one of the guys that won one of the giveaways, but he produced these, which are the KS1 suppressors. That's how I came across him. They actually had not an issue, but it when I used mine with my gas blowback, it came loose a little bit. The actual like heat shield locking ring. Messaged him about it, or he messaged me and I said, hey, this is something actually you might want to look at. He redesigned the entire thing within like 24 hours, then re-uploaded a file. I've just done a video specifically on this suppressor, so go and check that out. Anyway, he was like, hey, I'm doing another one right now, which if you want to check out, great. Here's the files. You can go and download them. Just give me some feedback. If you want to make a video, great. If not, don't worry. So I was like 100%. I think after printing this and doing an initial build and test, I think you guys are really going to like it. So this one is a copy of the Surefire SOCOM tracer unit, tracer housing. So the SOCOM Surefire suppressor, which is also a tracer housing. It's got the RC2, the RC3 and 4 versions and lengths. So basically the file that you can get, which is this one here, I'll show you what it is from Linocad here. You can see the price is $5.41. You download that and I think it's got, how many files have we got in here? 2 files, which are zip files. So all of these different files, so you can download and print as you want. You can mix and match, but basically what we're looking at is one of the most classic looking suppressors, this SOCOM from Surefire, and you can basically do it in a whole load of different like setups. And so when I saw this, or when he sent it to me, I was like, I'm gonna absolutely print one of these. And so I've just finished printing the second one. I put the first one together and I'm going to talk you through that now and show you how it works. But I just printed the second one. So what I'm actually going to do in the second part of this video, which might be interesting to you guys, is remove all of these, which are called supports. If you 3D print yourself, you may have come across them, but basically they're just there during the print to secure the thing in place. If you've got overhangs, threads that need like some kind of secure, it's there. So I'm going to build that one in a second. But first one I printed was, I think, his the 556 Micro. So this is the short version, and it basically came in, what was it, 5 parts that you could print one of. You could print all of them, but what it came with was the actual tube. So you could print different varying lengths of this. I've got another one here we're going to look at in a second. It has the base or the hub, and that is basically what this tube is going to screw onto. And then this is the 14mm counterclockwise thread. He also does another version, which is a slightly bigger one. I think it's the, what does he call it? He calls it the mounting hub. It's the 1/2 by 28. So I don't know what that is. It's actually another one. There's an M14. He like updates these as well. So if you buy the actual file and you go and buy it and he makes a change or improves it, then you get access to that. You don't have to buy it again. So I think this is the 14mm counterclockwise hub. I also printed one of the bigger ones. I haven't worked out what that's going to go on yet, but we'll figure that out. He also gives you a spacer. So if you want to put a tracer unit inside it, you have the option to like ride it on top of a little spacer inside. He gives you a couple of options of end caps, which are going to go on the end of the suppressor. That's one of these. And this is actually the little push button, which doesn't work because you're screwing it onto the 14mm thread, but it makes it look like it is that QD release. And then again, something he's really good at doing is a tool to basically put this on and off. Charlie's in the background as well, if I haven't mentioned that already. So this printed probably all of it in about 2.5 hours. I think the slightly larger suppressor printed in 3.5 hours, all the bits. So basically I downloaded the file, paid $5.41, had it instantly, put it on the Bamboo H2D, which is my printer. I'm actually printing another tube right now, so I can show you guys what that looks like as well, because that might be quite interesting to you. But I'm printing right now this one. So you can see it's going on here. This is actually going to be the 556 SOCOM version. You can see here it's 1 hour and 8 minutes was like the total time. No, 1 hour and 8 minutes left. So I think it was about 1 hour and 50 minutes there to print this one. This is going to be like a medium-sized tube. And what I actually realized was I could actually take different elements like this black button here, and I can use that on a FDE tube. So I'm going to try that out. I decided to shoot this video before that, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that out. Maybe it'll be a giveaway or something, but I'm quite interested to see what that looks like on an FDE build. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this one together. I'm gonna put this on my Staccato C2. We're then gonna look at this bigger one, take the stuff off it, and then put it onto my AK-X from Tokyo Marui, and we're going to see what they look like, how they work, and hopefully you guys will give me your opinions in the comments below on what it is. So I quite like a short suppressor, so I went with printing the shortest one first. All I need to do with this is basically take the threaded base cap, which has the 14mm threads. I just put this onto here and screw it on. And the threads are actually really good. Sometimes you can get like 3D prints or people who design 3D prints and they don't work on the threads that well. Like obviously it is plastic, it's not metal, so it's not going to be as hard wearing. However, the big thing is you can just print another one. You know, like it's very, very cheap to print. I printed these in eSun PLA Plus, which is a very like hard wearing PLA. It's very good for impact resistance and heat. But it is very fast printing and some of the finishes aren't the best on it. So you can see here, he's actually got the trades, which are here, the Surefire trades. If I printed this in something that was a slower print, those would come out a lot better. This is a fast printing. I just like printing in this. I may well end up like doing, you know, a different kind of one. I'll give you actually a little close-up. That's what you guys will like, right? You like your close-ups. Okay, so this is basically what I'm talking about here. So you can see here, Surefire LLC, it's got all of the stuff written there, but you can also see some of these lines here that would not necessarily come out in a like a slower print of a like more expensive, nicer material. But this PLA Plus, I'll print nearly everything in this and then I'll kind of figure it out later. This is the design of this little button. As you can see here, it's actually got push written on it. Oh, there you go. Push written on the top there. And what I think is also really cool is how he's designed it. This thing can just slide in here into this part. So it's sitting there as if it would be the push button. When you close down this, it holds it in place with a small amount of movement. So normally this would be like a, you know, like a spring-loaded thing. This has got a tiny amount of movement as it would do on the real thing. It obviously doesn't do anything. But again, you could run it not with that in there if you want to. You could put it in there if you want to. You could do it in different colors. My idea is to have a black base with a black button and then the FDE tube, which I'm printing right now. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. You've also got this spacer here, so you can drop this spacer right in. And then I've actually got a AceTech tracer unit here. This is the Blaster R, one that I have. So I'm going to be using this, sorry, the Brighter R. I hate this when it gets low on battery, it just decides to beep. This again, like he's designed it so well. You can see how snug this fit is and it just sits right there. So I could just basically drop that in, drop that out as I want. I then have this, which is the top piece that is printed. He actually has got a couple of different versions of that. So there's another one here. Sorry, I haven't actually cleaned up these prints. I haven't actually like just taken some of the detritus off. But look, you can see here, I printed a couple of these ones. I've printed this version. I think there's one other version he has as well. So with this, I'm just gonna take this piece. I'm gonna line it up on there. And also, like, I've actually got a lot of glue on my thing. And then I was actually, before I printed this tool, I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? Because it's kind of annoying, like trying to just rotate it and then undo it. But he's actually cut it in the interior as like a hex. And he's created this tool so you can just quite easily screw this up and then undo this as you want. Threads again are there. And you know, if you're using it a ton and for some reason your threads like they get misthreaded or whatever it is, you can just reprint it. And there we have the Surefire. I can also just not run the tracer in there. So if I just want to, I could just do this. It is actually harder because it's such a good snug fit to get the suppressor out just directly that way. I would probably just unscrew that and charge it directly while it was in there. But if you want to here, it's a lot easier just to push that through. I actually love how tight that is. But I could also just not put that in, not put that in, screw it onto this guy. And I haven't got any screws. I've got nothing that I need for... let me go back to this. I've got nothing, like no screws needed. Literally just that print and paying that $5 is all I've needed and I'm done. And then I could, if I wanted to, just have it like this, or I could put some foam in there and try and do a different form of suppression that way. I'll speak to him and say, hey, have you got any like baffles or anything that you're going to put in there? Because that could be a cool thing to print. It's just like baffles that fit perfectly in there. But then there's the Surefire can. Sorry, I'm showing it to that camera. And that's there. So what I thought actually is this little short guy, I might end up putting, and you know what I've done? I've actually put the wrong size on there. So it's the smaller thread was that one that I've just done, which means I may have printed the wrong size thread for this smaller one. This other one, I just pulled one of those ones over and I've just realized it doesn't matter because I can use this one. Just thinking like, oh, okay, now I can't do the build on the AK-X to show you guys, but it really doesn't matter, does it? Because I can just use the same base on a different one. So I didn't really need to print another base. I don't know why I did that. But I could basically just print one of these for all of my replicas. I could just switch the bases between, what am I doing? I'm going counterclockwise on this one, aren't I? So it's this way. I could switch the tracer between my thing. I always think with 3D prints as well, get the threads lined up and don't cross thread it. Like go gentle to start with, and then you can kind of work it out afterwards, like the cross threading. But that now is my Staccato, which I think looks damn cool. You know, like I'm not a big fan of like big suppressors on pistols, and that is a pretty big suppressor for a pistol, but it works. I mean, you can tell me in the comments right now if you like it or not, but I think that works really well. Very, very cool. So I can do that. Now what I'm also going to do is change this out on my AK-X. So I'm going to switch you back to desk view. And we're going to look at this. This is a much bigger can, and this is the 762 model. Now, I got a load of from people when I put this AceTech muzzle device or muzzle brake on here, because apparently this is for a 5.56 in real steel, and this is a 7.62 rifle because it's an AK or an AK, what is it, 74M equivalent. So I got a lot of abuse for that. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll print a 7.62 Surefire SOCOM, and then I can kind of try it out. It is going to make it a lot longer, so we might not enjoy that. But this is basically how these prints are going to come out. Now, as I said, I think I'm going to have to use the other base because this one I think is too small. I'll just print one after this. It's not going to be a big deal. But this is how these come out. And you can see here, these are called little trees. And all I take is a piece of pliers here, and I'm just peeling this off here. And as with PLA Plus, like it's not going to be the best finishes on certain parts, like where I've got it here. If I wanted to, I could buy a lot more expensive filament, which I probably will end up doing eventually, just to print this thing in something really, really nice and fancy. But I do like how fast and easy this is, and it's always just worked really well for me, this PLA Plus. Like the amount of print fails I get on it is very low. So all of these little bits is rubbish. I can just throw all this away. These are all like hollow, so it's not exactly like this is a ton of plastic. You kind of look at it and you're like, okay, wow, you're removing half the actual print, but it's not. So I'm just going to put that away. Charlie, unfortunately, likes to try and get hold of this, and this is obviously not very good for him. There's also an internal one here. So all I have to do with this is just do a little pull. Just got that base off. I'm going to grab this little tree piece here, and then you see that just has come out. And that basically was just supporting that inside there. So that's going to go in the bin as well. And then we have the base ready. You can see all the threads on here. You may want to just like tidy it up a little bit, file around. This isn't the prettiest, this shine. It's obviously going to be on the inside, so it's not a big deal. But that's kind of where that's looking now. The little button, the push button, it prints like this, again with the supports. So I'm just going to literally pull that off. And again, not the prettiest here. So I might use a different filament, but that will just drop into that hole there. And then that's good to go. Then I am going to basically just take this, which is going to be our base. Going to slowly just make sure that that's running on and that it's not like misthreading, because if it does misalign, obviously like you could be shooting BBs and they'll hit like a different part of the actual thing and just get blocked. And then let's go with this guy who is and I printed a tool as well in the previous one. So let's go with this guy. This is just going to go clockwise in here, I think. Is that right? No, I need a larger size. So I actually need to print a larger version of this. So that actually is one that was too small for this, because this is the 762. So this must be a wider can. Is that right? Looks about the same. So maybe I've that is definitely shorter. So maybe I've got that wrong. I need to look at that and see why it is. Anyway, I've got tons of files, so I'll look at why that's shorter. It might be for a different version of a different suppressor, and I've just printed it. That is it there. I can, with this one, if I want to put the suppressor in, just print a couple of these little spacers, drop these spacers in. I actually would need maybe one more of them, if I'm looking at that, just to put it in. But I could put that suppressor straight in the same way. And that there is my can ready to go on my AK-X. So we'll put this on now. I need to push this down with maybe this pen. Which way am I going? I am going this way. Sorry, I need to make sure I'm like, there's a little pressure pin here that's kind of keeping that up in that location, and it's in an awkward spot, this one. I might need actually one of my punches. Let's grab this guy. Get a thin little punch. Should just be easier to do. There we go. And this is going to go that way. Might take this off first because that's just rotating. This is really annoying. Trying to get enough like grip on it. Just make sure I'm doing it the right way. It's just hard to get like a grip on this right now, which I'm turning it the wrong way. That's why. I'm just trying to like think which way am I turning, and I think I am actually turning this the wrong way. Okay, so it is going to go this way is normally tightened, so that way is going to loose, but it's not really loosening. Oh, because there's a grub screw there. I'm so dumb. That was one of the stupidest things that I've done there. Try and ruin the threads on my actual replica. This is the unedited watch me F up my AK-X version of this. That makes a lot of sense now. So there was a grub screw holding it in place. Which is 100% why that was not releasing, and now it is. And apart from I need to keep pushing this little locking pin down. Okay, let's see what the damage on the thread's going to be. So you can see there, it's not too bad, but you can see there on that little silver bit, that's where I was damaging it there. And then what we're going to do is unfortunately not be able to put that on here because I printed the wrong base, but we can switch it over to the other base. And then you can see what this thing looks like on here. I could put the very, very long like 7.62 style suppressor on a 9mm and you guys would all cry. Okay, so there is this can. This guy is now going to go on here. This is definitely going to make this much less of a CQB weapon, but I do think it could look very cool. You can tell me what you think. Okay, you can see because I've threaded that on, you know, like the this 14mm counterclockwise has been on this one and it actually went on another one before. You can tell that it's actually very, very easy to like do the threading on it once it's like been on a couple of times. Like it's not exactly like I'm getting a ton of resistance. Okay, so that is now what this AK-X looks like. And I don't know if you think it looks cool. I don't know if you don't think it looks cool. I'd love to know if you guys want to leave a comment below. But I mean, it's, I don't know if I go that long. I may end up just putting that shorter one on there. Or should I go back to this, which is a fantastic product because it's a built-in tracer unit from AceTech. They sent this one to me for free. So shout out to AceTech. I love this thing. It's just apparently this is for a 5.56 and this one is a 7.62. Unless someone else who wrote that was wrong as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been of interest. I will be back very soon with more content. In fact, Linocad also does like a set of night vision goggles. And I said to him on the DM, I was like, hey, does that mean that it's just a housing for night vision? And he was like, no, it's actually like a full set. You just buy like certain components to go in it. So I'm kind of interested in doing that and just seeing what happens. So if you want to see that, let me know and I'll get on that. But I think it looks, the line of it looks pretty cool because it's super thin and long, this thing. If it was outdoors and it's just like a really like suppressed, it's growing on me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Go and check out Linocad. Links are in the description below. Goodbye.